All right, let's see if I don't make a mistake like the last one. All right, number 10. A boy on a bungee stores 2,000 joules of elastic energy at the lowest point. Okay, at the middle state on the way to the top, the bungee stores 40% of the initial elastic energy. Okay, so I guess it's still stretched. At the final state, the boy is at the highest point and the bungee is unstretched. Wow, that's a lot of information. Okay, so 2,000 joules of elastic at his lowest point. Okay, on the way to the top, there's still some elastic energy. Okay, so that must mean this cord is still sort of stretched, okay, as he's moving up. And then he's at the highest point and the bungee is unstretched, okay? All right. Wow. All right, so let's see what we can do with this. So let me go ahead and draw my guy. Okay, so here he is. Okay, so this is at max stretch, the lowest point. So that's going to be the max stretch. So we're definitely going to have EE, okay? If he's at his lowest point, I kind of feel like that's where he would be kind of moving and then turning around to bounce back up. So I don't think he's going to be moving there, okay? And depending on where you set the ground, he might have EG, but let me show you what it'll look like this time if I'm going to set EG to be some other level, okay? His lowest point, right, is going to count as like the ground level, even though it's not on the ground, right? It can be anywhere. But I'm going to go ahead and make that 0 because I think that's going to be easier, okay? All right, so 2,000, let me go by 400s. No, 1,200. Wait, 0, 4, 8. Oh, wait, I'm all off here. Okay, let me try this again. 0, 400. Make sure you're labeling the lines, okay, not the spaces. 1,600, 2,000. Okay, so 2,000 divided by 5 is going to help me scale it. Okay, so in my initial state, it's all going to be elastic. Okay, so EG at ground level. Okay, and I'm going to put that in quotes because it's not really the ground, but it's his ground. It's his bottom level. Okay, EK, I think he's probably not moving now because if he's at the lowest point, he's probably about to turn around. EE max fully stretched. Okay. All right. At the middle state on the way to the top. Okay, here we go. On the way to the top. Okay. So he's not at the top yet. So maybe he's like here or something, let's say. Okay. The bungee stores 40% of the initial elastic energy. Oh, 40%. Okay. All right. So 2,000 joules. Okay. 40%, right? 40% means 0.04 in decimals. Okay. So that means that's going to be 800 joules of elastic. All right. Or that's like also 2/5, 4/10, or 2/5. Okay. So I can sort of look at my picture too and I can see, oops, wrong column. And I can kind of see where I want to draw that at. Okay, let's go ahead and label this 0, 400, 800, 1,600, 2,000, 0, 400, 800, 1,200, 1,600, 2,000. Okay, all right. Okay, so he's going to store some elastic energy. Okay, 50% would be half, right? So that'd be like 1,000. So 40%, you know, has to be under 1,000. Okay, that's another way you can kind of at least make sure you're on the right track. Okay, all right. Is he above the ground now? Yep. Is he moving? Yep. Okay, so I don't know. Let's see. Maybe let's make 600. Let's see. So this is 2,000. 600, 800. Okay, so if that's the case, this has to be 400 for kinetic, right? Because 600 plus 400, nope, plus 800, that is not 2,000. I need that to total 2,000, so that's actually 600. Okay, so if I'm going to do that, I have to have 600, 600, like that. Okay, all right, and again, it doesn't say anything about air friction, so please, let's just like make our lives easy, okay, and just ignore it, okay? All right, okay, so that could make sense. So he's somewhat above the ground. He's moving at some speed, so I'm going to add some whooshies. The chord, you know, probably looks a little smaller, so it looks a little less stretched. Okay, so EG, he's about halfway up. EK, he is moving, so I can see whooshies. EE, partly stretched still. Okay, because it tells me that, okay? All right, at the final state, the boy is at his highest point, okay, and the bungee is unstretched. So that means there's no elastic, okay? And remember, highest point kind of means something, right? So he, at his highest point, he's not moving, all right? Because if he were still moving, he wouldn't be at his highest point yet because he'd still be moving, right? So in order to be at the highest point, you have to be not moving anymore, okay? So if that's the case, that means the EG is going to have to take up the whole amount, okay? So he's going to be maybe like, you know, up here. Maybe these are like kind of, you know, like slack, right? These should look sort of slack because he's sort of at that highest point, okay? And so no whooshies, so he's not moving, okay? So that's just 2,000, okay? So EG, highest point, EK equals 0 because he's not moving because he's at the highest point. EE, 0 because it's not stretched. And then we're going to ignore any kind of air friction or air resistance because who cares? Okay? All right, so let's go through the checklist, see if I find any errors like last time. Okay? Did I read the problem? I hope so. 2,000, 40%. I think I did. Okay? I labeled my... Oh, I should have put that on the checklist. Label the scales. Oh, well, that's okay. Hopefully you know that. Okay? Okay, EG, let me check consistency. So he's at his bottom level here, even though it's not the total bottom. Okay, and it could be, if you did it differently, you could have some EG. Okay, as long as it just gets higher, that's fine. Okay, this one is getting higher. Okay, so 600, he's a little higher up. By now, he's at the top, so he has the full 2,000. Okay, I should probably label this 2,000 to make it easier. Okay, all right, so that's consistent. Okay, let's look at kinetic energy. He wasn't moving here, no whooshies. So no, and here he's not moving, no whooshies, no whooshies, okay? Here he is moving, right? He has some amount of whooshies, some amount of speed, okay? And then the chord is still partially stretched here. So I had 800, which was 40% of the total, okay? And then here it says the chord is unstretched, so no EE, and we're not gonna bother with thermal, okay? Everything adds up to 2,000, that looks good. 668. 2,000, 2,000, that all looks very good. So I think this one's good.